It's the 24th of August, and this is your News Bite brought to you by eNCA.com. I'm Marcel Gordon, and in your news today, as the local government polls loom, there's still no sight of ANC candidates. There's a standoff about water at a school in Reiger Park, and your move, Rassie Erasmus, after the All Blacks draw first blood. The local government elections is just over 2 months away, and the ANC have still not released its list of mayoral candidates. The party launched its manifesto in Diepsloot in Joburg on Sunday, but Delolo mayoral candidates, all while other parties' candidates are already crisscrossing the metro, hard at work on the trail to convince voters to pick them come polling day. ANC member Mzwandile Masina says there's no crisis and that this was a firm decision by the ANC to make sure all potential candidates are properly vetted and are put through public scrutiny.
We opted that other than just announcing an individual as if it's a beauty contest, let's show the people of South Africa the process that we've undertaken and ensure that at least they have a sense of who are those who have assessed in terms of every criteria that we have set, who are going to be our public reps. So we did not really backtrack. We just enhance our process by declaring those that are public, because the danger is you can go ahead with an individual only to find that members of the community who might not be aware who are those people have no opportunity to raise any matter as it pertains to those individuals in terms of their character, their behavior in communities. Okay. It was therefore important that we declare them publicly so that in the process, as we conclude everything that we are doing, we are then able to name that one particular individual. And we are hoping that if we give time, then we'll have enough sufficient time to ensure that we then pick the right person who is not going to have issues in the public.
Well, the DA has said the ANC's local government manifesto is, quote, implausible. Leader Jordan Hill-Lewis says the ANC can't be trusted to fix what is broken. Matlala chairperson Justice Mbuyiseli Matlala has had his patience tested yet again, this time by Vusimuzi Matlala's legal team, who've asked for more time to file an affidavit before the commission. They claim they've had difficulties being able to consult with their client at Kgosi Mampuru prison. Here's advocate Fatima Misi.
One would note, as correctly put before the commission by Ms. Adila Hasim, that we did endeavor to provide them with an unsigned affidavit 45 minutes late. That's correct. It then took us approximately 3 hours to file our subsequent signed affidavit. Logically, as an individual, a layperson sitting anywhere would wonder to themselves, but if you had an unsigned affidavit and you only needed for your client to consult, make whatever changes you needed to make, why would it possibly take you 3 hours for you to then get a signed affidavit that's commissioned and file it and serve it on the evidence leaders?
But Justice Matlala was not persuaded that Matlala's involvement was all that necessary to deal with the issues causing this delay.
I will go back to the question that I asked about this being a legal question. This is something that Ms. Vandenheever was quite passionate about from the day of the last appearance. She referred a number of times to an application where points in limine would be raised. From the moment that you start thinking about bringing an application in which you are going to raise points in limine, you already know what the law that supports you is. So it should have been a matter of relative ease. In fact, even easier for you, Ms. Vandenheever, Mr. Matlala's lawyers, to argue the law than it would be for the evidence leaders on whom you are springing these points in limine. So I'm not sure that I follow your response. Can you tell me why written submissions were not or could not be filed?
A school with just over 2,000 learners, and they have allegedly now resorted to drinking water from fire hydrants. That's the story at the Reiger Park Secondary School, where there now is a standoff between learners who say there's been issues with water access for 3 months now, and a student governing body who claims this is an issue caused by vandals at the school. Learners also told eNCA's Matlala that toilets are also not up to scratch. The SGB chairperson, Sharona Lowe, says they're planning to meet with the pupils.
We were not aware of that. We know as the SGB we have been fixing toilets almost every month. Things are being broken by the same learners that are vandalizing the taps, the toilets. So that is what's happening at the moment.
Okay, so did it have to take pupils though for you as SGB to be aware of this situation? Because the learners are saying that they have to queue for hours waiting to get into the toilets, and it's also disrupting learning and teaching at the school. Did it have to take this measure for you to be aware?
Look, we are as SGB that's very hands-on, and when we hear about something we fix immediately, and that is one of the reasons that I immediately took it to the district when I received the letter from the learner.
So what is the current situation now inside the school when it comes to these ablution facilities and the taps? Because the pupils are saying that they're not working, and from the videos that we've seen, we're seeing taps that are seemingly broken, that are not working.
Okay, as I explained now, the taps were fixed, and one day there were no waters, and the same learners broke those taps, and we tried to fix it the other day, and it was broken again.
It feels like SASSA has been struggling to sort out the transition from their old card system for ages now already. Much like the beneficiaries who probably think that's how long they've had to wait in their queues. And now the deadline to migrate to the new black card is officially upon us. Social grant beneficiaries have until the 31st of August. Postbank says more than 1.8 million beneficiaries have already migrated, and they're urging others who have not to act quickly. They promise they've put additional measures in place at card replacement sites to manage the expected spike in beneficiaries in the coming days. In other news we're keeping an eye on, a warrant of arrest has been issued for musician Molemo Jub Jub Maruane. He faces allegations of kidnapping, assaulting an e-hailing driver, and discharging a firearm during an altercation in June. But he failed to appear in the Germiston Magistrates Court on Monday. The arrest will not be activated until the 7th of September, when the matter is due back in court. He claims to be in possession of a medical report showing that he's been booked off for 5 days. And police say they've arrested 4 people in connection with the murder of 2-time boxing world champ Zolani Tete, who was gunned down last week. The 38-year-old was attacked on Friday evening as he returned to his home in Mdantsane in the Eastern Cape. One of the 4 suspects has been formally charged with murder. On to the world of sports now, and it's tough being the fans of the double World Cup winning Springboks. Social media was awash this weekend with supporters going through the various stages of grief after watching their team being well beaten by the All Blacks at Reiger Park. But was losing the first match of the 4-test series a catastrophe? Here's Bok coach Rassie Erasmus's take.
We've been in many catastrophic situations in our life. We lost the first test against British Irish Lions. Everybody said that catastrophic. We lost the first pool game against New Zealand in the World Cup. Everybody says that catastrophic. So we've been in a lot of catastrophic situations in our lives. Obviously, we're now in a position, if we want to win a series, we have to win 3 games on a trot. So without a doubt, it puts them in a very good position, which they thoroughly deserve. And now we have to go to Cape Town and try and we win there, then it's all level.
Well, none of the All Blacks who started in that 33-16 win over the Boks will line up to play the Lions on Tuesday, but fly-off Richie Mo'unga will. It will be his first appearance for New Zealand since the 2023 Rugby World Cup, where you'll remember he kicked 2 penalties in the 12-11 loss to South Africa in that final in Paris. Soon after that, Mo'unga joined Japanese club Brave Lupus, and those who play abroad are not eligible to play for the ABs. But he recently returned to New Zealand and is now among 6 replacements called up by head coach Dave Rennie during the tour due to the raft of injuries. And in tennis, Coco Gauff made a statement with the US Open approaching, dominating Jessica Pegula 6-2, 6-4 to win her first title of the year, the WTA 1000 in Cincinnati. She last won that title in 2023. The same year, she then went on to win the US Open. Gauff insisted it shouldn't be considered a barometer for the US Open, but she admitted it was a welcome confidence boost. Meanwhile, in the men's section of the tournament, Frenchman Arthur Fies beat American Francis Tiafoe in straight sets to claim his first Masters title. And finally, a Joburg couple has shown it's never too late to complete unfinished life chapters. Kathy and Edmund Kars dropped out of school 34 years ago after the birth of their daughter. After building their family and raising their kids, it was a story on social media that inspired them to get their matric certificates. Edmund told eNCA's Naomi Kobe that they wanted to prove to their kids, their grandchildren and their community that nobody's story is set in stone.
I was 17 when I impregnated my wife, and I thought it was an obstacle. But 34 years later, we are still together. So, it's a mindset thing. You are, how would I say, you're the driver in your own life. You can choose your destiny.
Be sure to go to eNCA.com to watch that full version of this inspiring story. And that's how we wrap today's News Bite. For developments in these and more, keep an eye on eNCA.com and DSTV channel 403.